put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show, and we've got the big man in town, and he hails from the east. We want to welcome and congratulate at the same time this morning on the Tobago Updates morning show for the very first time the Assistant Commissioner at the Tobago, Collis Hazel, and he is the Assistant Commissioner of the TTPS. And I have to admit here that this is new for us. This is a very big moment for us here in Tobago, and for all of us who hail from the east. Good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, good morning, Rhea. Good morning, Tobago. It is a delightful moment to be in this beautiful studio for the first time.
I have to say congratulations to you. And before we get into the meat of the purpose of your interview this morning, I want you to just give our viewers this morning an idea, a very quick idea. And I know we could go on all day and all week long, but a very quick idea of your journey to where you are today.
Well, my journey has been one started as a special reserve police officer in 1989, joined the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in 1991, got promoted 5 years later as a corporal, the youngest corporal in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. 2 years later became a sergeant of police, and then sometime in 2000, around there, 2011, got promoted to Inspector of Police. Then I served as a program officer. I took leave of absence from the police service and worked with the UNDP program, and then returned back after performing that public duty, and got promoted as an assistant commissioner of police. And then a year or so after, as a superintendent, and then acted as an assistant superintendent, as a senior superintendent in Trinidad, got confirmed within 2 years later, and then here am I. Last year I was promoted to the rank of assistant commissioner of police and work with the Port of Spain Division and Western Division, and now is posted to my homeland Tobago, but also assistant commissioner for Northeast as well, of Eastern Division.
All right.
Here.
What does it mean for you to be able to give back to your homeland Tobago at this rank?
Well, my responsibility in Tobago at this point in time is to provide executive command to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service for these 2 specific divisions. And therefore, executive command in the division, looking at our strategic direction of the police service, and to ensure that the pillars, the milestones that we have set as an executive for running the TTPS is really achieved. Of course, these 2 divisions, of course, bordering one another, separated by sea, as close attention will be paid to them, and of course, it is dear to my heart in terms of serving and working towards them, achieving the milestones that we would have set out to achieve at a particular time. Is really driving the driving force to ensure that the things get done. And Rhea, who else to ensure that the things get done more than Collis Hazel? And I think that I am committed, I am passionate, I am determined, based on my trajectory of coming out of Port of Spain and Eastern Division, and Northwest as we called it, where I have just operated from, just managing as goal commander for the last 4 major events in Trinidad and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and have brought them home with success. I speak to that of first operating a crime plan in Port of Spain division, where there was a 28% reduction in serious crimes. And while there were murders taking place throughout Trinidad, we have not recorded, statistics will show, we have not recorded a murder in the Port of Spain division for the entire month of December when I took up office there. And our first murder happened sometime in January. We are exceeding now in terms of being the second division in the TTPS by way of achieving, working on our targets. And certainly, this is what I bring to Tobago. I have managed with my team for the first time as the goal commander for Carnival, the mother of all Carnival. Having brought home that, as we know, Carnival was a crime-free initiative. It was really it was really new to me in terms of that level of command, but with the support and the direction and working together with stakeholder analysis, certainly we brought it home successfully. And moving on from that, I have just spearheaded and goal command the inauguration of the president, the new president that was under my belt, under my charge. And that again was done with distinction. And coming out of that, my last assignment was to be the goal commander for the conference, the symposium that just concluded, where our CARICOM prime ministers meet, looking at crime as a public health issue. Again, that initiative came off successful. So here am I, to the public of Tobago, my hometown, prepared and ready to run. Prepared, motivated on that trajectory that we can do it. The task is not insurmountable for me, and I have met with my officers as I came, and I got the commitment. We are all Tobagonians. We understand this space more than anything else, and therefore, if the time has come for us to put our officers to work, it is important that we understand what we are going through and some of the challenges that we are encountering in Trinidad with crime fighting now. Certainly, we would not want to see them on this space in any form or fashion operating on the island. So I'm coming here with an open door policy. I'm coming here understanding that I walk the ground. I know the place. I've worked here as an assistant superintendent of police. And over the weekends when I will visit, people will call. People would ask questions, trying to get things done. I have seen how things could be done differently. And certainly, it is all I would like to utilize the approach of that community engagement in stakeholder partnership. That is a model in which I utilize in Trinidad, in Port of Spain, where I was able to bring 35 stakeholders together, both of from the TTPS, internal and external, and of course our other stakeholders in business, in community, in education, in all spheres of life of human endeavor, where we were able to sit together and strategically plan. And certainly those are some of the strategies that I will be bringing on the doors of Tobago and an Eastern Police Division as we work holistically in fighting crime. Because Rhea, crime is not an individual situation. Crime is all of us concerned.
Yeah.
And therefore, we need to be able to rally around each other. Because when you look, there is a small amount of persons who are, at this point in time, enslaving us in our homes with burglar proof and putting up all kinds of devices that have us entrapped in our homes while the criminals are having an opportunity to rant and to do what they want as they like and as their pleasure. And in the meantime, some of us retreat and surrender. And we do nothing about it and expect the police alone. And therefore, my approach is going to bring on board all stakeholders. We have two pair of eyes. We have that opportunity where we can work together with the police. And for me, it is to motivate my officers, to have them here to operate with a level of resilience so that we can be able to understand that times have changed, people have changed, technology have changed, but leadership endures. And that's what we want.
I want to know, what are you able to bring differently to the table for 2023 moving forward with regards crime fighting? Tobago is very different from Trinidad, yes, and our numbers may be smaller, but it does not mean that crime does not exist on the island. What are you able to bring? And this is not asking you to divulge too much into the plan, because we don't want the criminal elements to be aware of what the plan is. But what information you are able to bring to us, what would you do differently?
Okay, so I speak of leadership, and therefore what we want, what I've been talking with my officers, some of the things that I would like to see happen and will ensure that it's happened is that we always have to remember that as a supervisor, as a leader, you must always be prepared to lead with example. And therefore, you must always be reminded that you don't give anyone a task in which you yourself is not prepared to do. We have been putting persons on the battlefield outside there, our junior officers, to reach and to stage some of the initiatives of crime and criminality. Some of them are very inexperienced. Some of them are coward in terms of approaches. I've seen quite recently a situation with an officer trying to get somebody quite recently with a one of those cyclists, and the long time it took in order to arrest that situation. And all of that, putting up with some things that we really will not tolerate at this time. What I am saying to us, what is going to be different is that I am now calling on supervisors to hit the ground. So you would not be seeing just the junior officers outside there. Khaki men have to hit the boots running with their officers so that we will have rapid raid and searches taking place at the point in which we are being affected. So there will be a lot of raid and searches taking place. I can give you that, because at the places where you have crime and criminality operating, we need to be able to ensure that those perpetrators, those priority offenders are dealt with. They cannot be sitting comfortable on their laurels in this island and ensuring that crime and criminality run amok, and we just have them up and down the place. So life is going to be busy with the police in ensuring that we rid at least 20% of our priority offenders, to have them arrested and placed before the court of pure competent jurisdiction. We want to be able to ensure that in terms of the fatalities, Rhea, that is happening in Tobago, we have a 300% increase in fatalities in Tobago. And therefore, this is one of the things we want to be able to understand, that we educate, we teach, and we act as a catalyst for change. In a situation where Tobago roads continue to be the same roads we are accustomed to, our highway is a small area which some have questioned is whether it's really a highway or not.
But it's our highway.
But it's our highway, and therefore we need to police it. We need to ensure that motoring public utilize the highway in the way in which is set out in the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act. And therefore, we want to be able to ensure that we treat with that situation in reducing the amount of fatalities that operate within our highway. May I say to you that 3 years ago, Trinidad and Tobago had the lowest amount of fatal road traffic accidents operating throughout the Commonwealth. And we were setting the pace in terms of a study by PAHU as to what was responsible for that success. We are now in a situation where we are seeing an increase in road fatalities. And therefore, we have to be able to up our game. We have to educate, we have to sensitize, and we have to ensure that the motoring public adhere to the restrictions out there in dealing with those RTAs.
Now, I want to ask you here, as it pertains to the general public, what would be your information advice for the general public in terms of working along with the TTPS in Tobago, but also those officers who serve under your charge? We saw quite recently where, and the thing is, we don't have all of the background information here, but just snippets of a video of an officer, and it appears as though he was provoking a civilian. This was last week when we had the Trinidad licensing officers from Trinidad in Tobago conducting their duties, but we saw where an officer, a civilian was pulled over, or there may have been an altercation between him and an officer concerning a motorcycle, and it appears as though the officer might have been provoking the civilian. What do you say to the general public as it pertains to the measures to ensure that police officers not provoke, but carry out their duties without provocation to the general public?
Okay, so one of the measures that we would be ensuring is to ensure that there's constant training. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will be embarking on a customer service training again, because we realize that we have not been getting 100% success in this area, where you will go to the stations, and at times the way in which you are meted out, the way in which you are treated, it is unbecoming. And therefore, we are boosting up in that area. Only yesterday, we had a 3-hour meeting with our commissioner, and that was one of the focus in which we identified that we are going to be training, retraining, and retooling our officers in that field. So I would want to admonish persons that in any way, if you are treated, if you feel that you have been slighted, the police is one of the areas that have their complaints situation works. You feel free in order, the Police Complaints Authority, there is the officers who you may want to talk to, a supervisor in that respect, so that they can be able to deal with the problem, because we have to mitigate situations that happen from time to time here with our officers. And certainly, as I mentioned, I have an open door policy. And therefore, I am prepared to listen to persons concerned and to work with the community. I think Tobago needs a listening ear.
Okay. Thank you so much for chatting with us. Do you have, are you going to give out your phone number like former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith? Are you going to give out your telephone number to the general public for persons to contact you privately? Say something. I know there's an open door policy, but just...
Well, the point about it is that, Rhea, I made it abundantly clear that there is nothing in terms of the whole idea of me working in community is no strange in terms of policing. I've worked with the Roxbury Police Youth Club for the last 33 years. And therefore, my number is no secret to no one. So at the end of the day, being assistant commissioner doesn't seem that to be secret. I'm a public officer. So persons can contact me. I am at 745-489-4444. 4957. So at the end of the day, reach out and we can talk, we can communicate, but I am prepared to work. I want to send a message to all those criminals in Tobago to stand at attention. A new sheriff is in town.
That's right.
And therefore, I am prepared to work with a team of officers to eradicate, to lessen, to minimize the risks that our Tobago population is facing at this point in time. And make no bones about it. Based on the trajectory that I have been operating on Northwest in Port Spain and the Western Division, I am bringing it to Tobago, and there will be no let loose for criminals. So we are not no soft target here on this island, and quite certainly you can look forward to visibility, strong visibility of police officers hitting their boots on the ground, and we will be there, as I would have mentioned, dust in the face for the bandits. We are not letting loose on this island.
That's right, dust in their face. We are not letting loose, and I think those are some excellent, that's an excellent sentence to end the interview on this morning. I really want to thank you this morning, and congratulations to you again, Assistant Commissioner of Police Collis Hazel. I'm just reminding you viewers, he hails from the East, but he's here to serve all of Tobago. Yes?
Quite certainly, Rhea. It has been a pleasure being here, and I look forward to making myself available to the members of the media so that I can ensure that Tobago is properly informed and educated about crime and criminality. And of course, our town meetings as well will speak to some of that in short order.
All right, thank you so much again. And just to let you know, viewers, that we had him first. We had him first here on the Tobago Updates morning show. All right, lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates morning show. So we encourage you again, viewers, to share the live, share the live, share the live.